All praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. And this is going to be a video on how, until things get physical, women are never going to learn, man. Ultimately, they're never going to learn while things don't get physical, because if you ever watch women argue with each other, right, they'll run their mouths toward each other, saying all kind of things, man, because they most of the time know that the other woman is not going to do nothing physical. And then they run their mouth towards men because they assume and hope that men that are strangers are going to get involved, and that the law system is going to look at that man like he's a bully if he does anything physical to that woman, right? But one of the things that you'll notice in this world is that women that are fighters, that are literally trained fighters, right, and that they know how to fight and that they're shown that they're violent, women do not come to them with the same attitude that they will still feel bold to come at a man that's a fighter with, right? Because women enjoy playing a rigged game, and that's why they like the whole child support system and all of these kind of things, right? And over here in the UK, when they changed around the whole child benefit system to where if you don't have two children, if you have more than two children, you're not allowed to get certain amounts of benefits and stuff like that. I personally notice that you don't really see women walking around with the multitude of children thing anymore, man. I don't really see that over in the UK no more. Me personally. If any other brother sees that still, that's them. But I don't really see. I can't remember the last time I saw a woman really walking around with like 4 or 5 children that are all similar, like a year age apart and all that. I don't recall too many times when I see that, man. But anyway, I'm going to get into this scripture here in 2 Samuel, the 6th chapter, and explain what I mean about how until things can't get physical, women are not going to be able to learn. They're not going to understand what the true position of power is in this world, man, because they are always be able to play games. This is 2 Samuel chapter 6 and verse 14. And David danced before Yahweh with all his might, and David was girded with a linen ephod. So David and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of Yahweh with shouting and with the sound of a trumpet. And as the ark of Yahweh came into the city of David, Michal, Saul's daughter, looked through a window and saw King David leaping and dancing before Yahweh, and she despised him in her heart. And you already know how these Benjamite women are, man. They're demons, bro. These Benjamite women are proud as hell. They're proud as hell, man. And I personally don't want to talk to none of them. now somebody might say, oh, you hate the black woman. I don't give a shit about none of that bullshit that people want to try and come with about that I hate the black woman bullshit. That flies off one shoulder and off the other, mate. With me, I could care less about that bullshit. Because any child that an Israelite man has, if we have any, right? Any woman that we get with, whatever we produce, is the Israelite. No matter what. It could be some bouncing 25 feet in the air Hamite woman that looks through. Guess what? That child's going to still be an Israelite, man. Right? It might not be your cup of tea, but some Jakes might like that. I don't. But some Jakes might like that. Right? He's not Leviticus 20 and 13 so that's none of your business if he likes them 25-meter jump Hamites. That's his problem. Right? But Eve, mate, these Benjamite women, everyone already knows they're demons, man. Right? But anyway, let me carry on reading. I ain't even trying to make this be a video too much about bunning out the women. I just want to get into the point of how without physical things happening, they will never learn, man. Right? And as the ark of Yahweh, verse 16, and as the ark of Yahweh came into the city of David, Michal, Saul's daughter, looked through a window and saw King David leaping and dancing before Yahweh, and she despised him in her heart. And you know, these women don't like to see men having fun. Back then, they didn't like to see men having fun. And even now, they don't like to see men having fun, man. A lot of these women can't stand to see Jake having fun. They can't stand it, man. Right? And they brought in the ark of Yahweh and set it in his place in the midst of the tabernacle that David had pitched for it. And David offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before Yahweh. And as soon as David had made an end of offering burnt offerings and peace offerings, he blessed the people in the name of Yahweh of hosts. And he dealt among all the people, even among the whole multitude of Israel, as well to the women as men, to every one a cake of bread and good piece of flesh and a flagon of wine. So all the people departed, every one to his house. Then David returned to bless the household, and Michal, the daughter of Saul, came out to meet David and said, "How glorious was the king of Israel today, who uncovered himself in the eyes of his handmaids, of his servants, as one of the vain fellows shamelessly uncover himself." So she was just hating, man, right? Watching man's almonds, you know what I mean? Which these women love to do, love to monitor man's almonds. They want a man that's got this and got that. They want a man that's rich. They want a man that's this and that. They want a man that's all this height stuff that they be running their mouth about. They want a man that's handsome and not, his breath don't stink, right? He's not fat. He's not out of shape. He smells nice. He washes himself. He grooms himself. But then they assume that they're going to be the only woman that he finds attractive. No, that's absolutely not the case, man. You can't stop other women from finding your man attractive. You can't stop that. But she was hating, trying to be like, oh, do you notice she mentioned the handmaids? You notice she mentioned the handmaids, man. Trying to make out like they're just so much of a lower woman than her when she was the lower woman than them. They weren't hating. And the story goes on to prove that they were higher women than her, as we're gonna read, man. Verse 21, and David said to Michal, "It was before Yahweh, which chose me before thy father." So he put her in her place, man. "Which chose me before thy father and before all his house, to appoint me ruler over the people of Yahweh, over Israel. Therefore will I play before Yahweh." So he was like, no, what you saw me doing was for Yahweh, who chose me before your dad and before all of the people that is in your whole family and the whole tribe, your whole tribe. That's what you saw me doing. So watch your mouth, right? Verse 22, and yet I will be more vile than dust, and will be base in mine own sight, and of the maid servants which thou hast spoken, of them shall I be had in honor, right? Therefore Michal, the daughter of Saul, had no children until the day of her death. Now, people say, oh, but he didn't beat her though, but he didn't brutalize her and batter her. How did he, listen, man, how did he enforce this onto her? Somebody had to physically do something to stop her from being able to have any children. She would have had to be kept away in some way to that she couldn't try and, oh, I'm going to go and commit adultery then and still get attracted. Like, some things was done, things was put in place to make this be enforced that she was not going to have any children until the day of her death. Things were put in place, physical restraints. Physical things was put in place, man, that he didn't need to beat her, but physical things were done to make this be enforced, man. Physical things was done to make this be enforced. He ended up having children with the maid servants that she had a problem with, but she was made to be put in a position where she didn't have any children, right? And physical things was put in place to guarantee that this was gonna be her judgment, man. Physical things, right? Just like how right now, like, make a man try this and a woman in this world, man. Make one of us try and say to one of these men, you ain't gonna have no children until the day of your death, mate. She'd just out of spite go and get pregnant by the grimiest hood demon that he can know, mate. We can't enforce nothing like this. And he didn't beat her, he didn't punch her up. You know what I mean? He didn't hit her with a slingshot like he hits Goliath with, you know? He didn't hit her with the moves with the moves of the 37 mighty men. He didn't hit her with no fifth rib technique. But physical things were done to her to guarantee she would never have any children her whole life. She was kept in a way where you're being monitored. Try an adultery and see what happens, man. Do you know what I mean? She would have been watched. She was being watched. She would have been getting watched and monitored to guarantee that this takes place. And a lot of you men in this world need this, man. Because you ain't got no manners, right? Your attitude stinks and you're feisty as hell, man. Yeah, and I ain't even trying to make it be no video about running out women, but you're feisty, right? And man, when the things start to get physical, that's when women are gonna learn their lesson and learn to watch their mouth, man. That's when Isaiah 4 and 1's gonna take place. When things start getting physical, all this stuff that they're saying now, coming fake humble, getting on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and all this stuff, running them out, trying to fake like they're humble. Even the women that are making the videos, trying to bun out the other women, they're hoes too. A lot of them are hoes as well, man. Some of them are all right and are trying to do the right thing and all that, but a lot of them are wicked as well, man. They're just trying to jump on the bandwagon to try and make some money. Like most of that whole red pill thing. And eventually when that's completely dried out, they're going to jump onto the next bandwagon, man. They might all try and have a boxing match or something like that. You even got Ray J trying to have a boxing match, an MMA fight, and got absolutely sprawled out. That was a complete disgrace. Ray J trying to fight, Ray J. And then the guy that he fought can't even fight really either, in my opinion. You got Ray J having MMA matches against YouTubers and getting sprawled out, man. Absolutely disgusting. But anyway, Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 25, thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy might in the war. The days are coming where things are going to get physical, right? Verse 26, and her gate shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. Because even the most, I don't need no man, I don't need no plan, men ain't this, men ain't that. Most of them women that run their mouth talking all of that BS, yeah. They got their dad, they got their brother, they got their uncles and all that they go to behind the scenes for every time that they need help. Every time that things start getting a bit sticky, right? Things start getting a bit techie out here, they run to some man. They run to some man begging for help all the time, man. Anytime something breaks down, they need help and advice and some wisdom, they go to a man. Anytime they need someone to back it, they don't go in their phone and pick out a woman from their phone. They're picking out the men in their phone, man. Some man that they've gave some of their funky box to, right? They're always going to some man in their phone. Every time. Every time when they want something really done, they run into a man in their phone. But Yahweh's gonna set things up to where those men are gonna start getting evaporated off the earth, man. Them men are gonna start getting judged because they're wicked and they've been enabling women to be pieces of trash on this earth, man. Right? Verse 26, and her gate shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. Her being desolate and sitting upon the ground is going to come because the men ain't going to be there. As much as women like to run their mouth and talk about men badly, right? Mate, without men, they're nothing. All that makeup and stuff that they do, okay, I'll admit this. I think a lot of the makeup stuff, some of the stuff that they do is for each other. To try and compete with each other, because women will look at a woman that's more attractive than her and try and find the most dumb thing to try and insult. She might say, oh, but her ears are big, or but her eyebrows are this and that. She'll try and find one small thing that she can say something about. Then that one will start doing some next dumb things to her face to try and undo the 1 or 2, 3 things that she might have wrong with her, so that the women can't say nothing to them no more, right? But that woman that said something to her isn't perfect herself neither. But women's main thing is about what they look like anyway, right? But women know that their main thing that they have to offer is what they look like, right? And the hope that men have and the want that men have of sleeping with them. Because if they didn't have a vagina, what are men going to be talking to them for? If they didn't have a vagina and their mouth was sewn shut, right? They didn't have a tits, breasts and all that, right? They didn't have no ass and all that, mate. And they don't have no vagina. What's a man need to talk to them for, man? What's a man going to talk to them about? Men give way better advice than women. It's better. You can have a way better conversation with a man than you can have with a woman. Like, women don't go through enough in this world, in this society, to even have the wisdom to give any advice, man. They don't even get put through nothing to have any advice. They don't have nothing to say. Not really. They don't really have any wisdom for the most part, the average woman. You can't talk to them about nothing deep. They're not deep to be talked to about nothing deep. And all they can do whenever ever they are trying to talk about something deep is regurgitate what men say, even down to this Hebrew Israelite doctrine. You got all these people out here, and you know what? Let me get fucking real for a second, man. Because I see a lot of people going around talking shit about camps, yeah. Or I'm an Israelite buying in no camp. Listen, fucking dumb motherfuckers, man. Without the camps, none of you would know you're Israelites, right? None of you. So what the fuck are you talking about? That's like saying I'm an Israelite, but I don't read no Bible. Are you dumb? The Bible's where we know that we're Israelites from, stupid idiot. That you people are stupid, man. The nerve of you people, man, to be talking about the camps. But then that's the only reason why you know you're an Israelite anyway. That's the only reason you know. Like, what are you talking about, man? And then some of you Jakes out there, man, some of the ways that you've changed the doctrines that you teach, right? And you're talking about Revelation 7 and 9 means what the Christians say it means now and stuff like that. What the hell did you, man? What the hell are you playing at, bro? What demon whispered in your ear to make you think that that's okay? And how can you look yourself in the mirror, right, knowing that you're a sellout? It's trust me, man. It would, man. Some of these people, man, it's better, yeah. Always, it would be better for people to assume or believe or think that you're a sellout or that you're an agent and all these kind of different things, and you're not one, right? Then for people to think that you're not an agent and you are one. But it's even worse. It's even worse when people think that you're an agent and you are, and you're still trying to go over and trying to run with the idea that you're not, even though people clearly can see that you sold out. People can clearly see you sold out and that you turncoat and changed up the whole doctrine that you claim to believe in, right? And that is clearly because you got bribed by whoever you got bribed by, and you're still trying to make out like, nah, I'm never. Trying to think you can try and pull the wool over people's eyes, mate. You're disgusting. You're disgusting. How can you look yourself in the mirror, man? Judas Iscariot couldn't look himself in the mirror no more after he betrayed Yahushua. So why can you guys still look yourself in the mirror, knowing that you're betraying Yahushua as well? You're betraying Yahushua, but you ain't got the shame that Judas Iscariot had. Verse 26 again, and the gate shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. Isaiah 4:1, and in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel, only let us be called by thy name, to take a rare approach. Like all you women running around talking about, I need a Chanel bag and all this kind of stuff. Mate, y'all ain't even gonna be in shows for starters. You ain't gonna, with women like that be running their mouth like that, are not gonna be getting shows. Or you mean that your favorite man that you like is an Israelite corrupt drug dealer? And when I say an Israelite, I'm talking about an Israelite by nation, but even though they don't believe that they are, a 2/3 Jake called Gremlin, man, a son of Belial. All you women that you love them and that's your favorite type of Israelite, a so-called black man, let me say it like that. You ain't gonna be making it in the time to come. You're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it, man. And until things get physical, though, women are not going to understand this. And physical doesn't necessarily mean you getting your head bust. It's just the nature of it getting physical in general in the world. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to have to get physical for you. Some of you women might not get physically harmed by a man when all hell breaks loose. But the men that you would have been protected by, they might get very well harmed. Prophecy says that they definitely are going to get harmed. Right? And I'll get another prophecy on that. Prophecy says that they very much so, are going to be harmed, man. 2 Ezra chapter 16 and verse 33, the virgin shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. So some of you women are not even going to have anything physically yet have happened to you. You're just going to see that there's a lot less men around, which was where you always had your power from anyway. But your arrogance made you think that wasn't where you had your power from. You thought that your power came from you. But the power always came from the men around you, but your arrogance again always made you think it came from you, just like the whole nation of Israel in general got arrogant and thought that their power came from them instead of it coming from Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, which is our man. And your women are going to get to feel the same thing that we had to find out, man. The same way how the Israelite man had to find out, man, our power don't come from ourselves, our power comes from Yahweh. You men are going to find out that your power, and you're going to have to admit, you're going to have to come bending and crying, man, and admit that your power comes from us. Our win is your win, and our loss is your loss, right? But at the same time, if you want to try and help us lose, and then we start winning, we can win without you, and still carry on the whole nation of Israel without you. Every single Israelite man could just decide we're not going to have no children with any Israelite women. And guess what? The nation of Israel is still going to exist. Because we're the nation before you are. You're part of the nation. But we're a bigger part of the nation than you, whether you like it or not. You want to try and be equal with us, keep trying to want to be equal with us, man. When all hell breaks loose, you're going to get the chance to prove your equality, right? But prophecy, as I'm reading it right now, is showing that this is not the thing you want to be trying to do, because when things start to get physical, you're going to realize that you're inferior. Right now, people can play games and do all the things that they want to do, but things getting physical changes all of that, man. It changes all of that. A woman can be disrespectful to a man on a train, do all this, try and jump on a train before him and all that, mate. If things decide to get physical, that man could grab that woman, throw her on the floor, and what, for the most part, what's she gonna do? Now, are there some women that might know a few Brazilian jiu-jitsu and a few combat things and all that might be able to do something and even win in a fight against a man? Yeah. But for the most part, that's not what's going to be happening, is it? Most men can beat up most women that they see. The average man that's walking around the street can beat up the average woman that he sees on the street, man. He just can. Without trying, neither. He doesn't even have to try. He doesn't even have to go full force. But like I said, things are never going to need to get physical for the women in general. The physicality is not even going to need to necessarily, in all these different situations, be aimed at the women. It's just the physicality of the world in general. Just men being violent against other men is going to be enough to make these women get in line, man. A woman running her mouth because she thinks that certain men that she's got around her can protect her, and then finding out that all those men are no longer around, they're no longer even alive, right? That's more than enough to make her realize, man, I was gassing myself up because I thought this and I thought that about the men I knew, and none of them are around anymore. They're literally all gone. And I'll read the prophecy again, 2 chapter 16 and verse 33. The virgin shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the war shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and the husband shall perish of famine. The men are going to be falling around. The population of men is going to be decreasing, man. All you men running your mouth about men used to go to war, you're going to get them going to war. And they're not going to be around to be able to help you and protect you from certain men that are savages and not right in the brain, that are going to not have any care in their heart for women like you. They're not going to care about women like you, because women like you do not deserve to be cared for. But only the men that had a certain connection with you believe that you did. But them men are very soon, because they're wicked and don't believe in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, they're not going to exist anymore. 2 chapter 15, and all that your mama black ain't going to work neither, man. Your mama black, your toes black, your TV's black, right? Your socks are black, your favorite pair of trainers are black, your t-shirt's black. Ain't none of that gonna work, right? Oh, but the back of your neck's black, so you can't say that about black with me. Nothing what you want to mention that's being black is gonna stop the righteous judgment going out against you women, man. No matter what you want to say is black, right? 2 chapter 15 and verse, I'm gonna get straight to the point. In fact, you know what? I'm not. 2 chapter 15 and verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction, excuse me, draweth nigh. And one people shall stand at the fight against another, and swords in their hands. for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. So men are going to be going against men in this world, right? Right? And even without women even being involved in this, just the women seeing things get physical is going to be enough to start making them realize, mate, we better start shutting our mouths around here. Some of you women are going to get the shock of your life when you see men that you thought were wimps. You might see some men that you thought was, oh, he's a pushover, he's only 5'7". In your mind, he's only 5'7", but he's still bigger than you. But some of you women are going to be saying he's only 5'7" and about 150 pounds. My man's 6'3", 270. And you might try and call him over to try and sort this guy out, right? And you don't know that this guy's been training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, mixed martial arts, Krav Maga, boxing, wrestling, Taekwondo, and he's a lunatic on top of that. to add on top of that, he's a lunatic, mate. And he don't take no mess. And that 5'7", 150-pound man dust off that geezer that you tried to bring over, right? And slump his jawbone off. And then you're just looking there stupid as hell, man, because you really don't understand men against men violence, man. That's why you run your mouth so much, man. You don't understand what it is. You don't understand. You don't really understand nothing, man. To get real down to the point. A lot of women don't understand the reality of anything, man. You just gallivant yourselves all over the world, put yourselves in danger, and then expect men to come and step and save you all the time, man. Like a damn cat getting itself stuck up a damn tree. And it starts doing that weak ass meow. Looking down like, oh, how did I end up here? I don't know how I ended up here, but come and take me down anyway. Just get me down anyway. And then the moment you get the damn cat out of the tree or wherever it's ended up, it just runs off. Obviously cats can't say thank you, but I'm just using it for the point. It will just run off and end up in the next situation, and with its head like stuck in between a bar, stuck in between some weird gap. And you're like, how the hell did you end up there? And it's doing that weak ass meow. You're like, man, how the hell? And then you get saved again until the day when it don't get saved. Till the time it don't get saved, man. And ends up with his head caught in somewhere, it's struggling to get out or something like that. And its head ends up getting dismembered, man. Fall off. But anyway, verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Now, the course of things standing in a man's power is obviously in that time it's gonna be about the men's power. The women aren't gonna have the ability to try and influence and manipulate things like they do now, because men will see right through that and put them in their place straight away to try and start any of that bullshit. That's not gonna work, man. A lot of that stuff's not gonna work, and I ain't even trying to make this too much, which it might be too late for that already now. I ain't even trying to make this be too much of a video about bunning out women, because a lot of the physical things that are going to be taking place are not even necessarily going to be, excuse me, are not even necessarily going to be men doing things to women in every single situation, man. It's just the physical nature of what the world's going to be like. He's going to humble you women, man. He's going to humble you. The physical nature of war, right? The reality and the evilness of war is going to show you women that the real nature of men you cannot contain, right? The real which women like to try and manipulate men and try and use them and tell them what to do and all that kind of stuff and try and think they got some power over them. The real nature of men cannot be contained by women. It cannot be manipulated by women. It cannot be contained. It cannot be controlled by women. It doesn't matter that you gave birth to us, because without us giving seed to the women, there wouldn't be no birth going on. You ain't gonna be able to try and tell us our mom's black or say that you was birthed by a woman or anything like that, because without men you wasn't born neither. And it doesn't matter how much input you want to try and say, oh, but he only gave to this, he only gave to that, and you only gave whatever you gave to. So be humble and watch your mouth, because if a man said to you, you know what, I want my son to be 7 foot, you couldn't do that. You couldn't do it. If he said, I want my son to have green eyes, you couldn't do it. If he said, I want my son to be dark skinned, You can't do it. If you said I want my son to have loose curly hair instead of tight curly hair, you couldn't do it. If you said I want my son to have a gap in his teeth, or I don't want him to have a gap in his teeth, you couldn't do either. So don't try and act like it's your control, man. It's Yahweh's the one that designs the babies, not you. Just like Yahweh's the one that gave us the seed, not us. So humble yourself down, man. And don't try and make it like the children thing is you're doing, like you're the vessel that's designing all these children and that. But then you don't want to take the blame for how bugged out some of them are. Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbour, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. So things are gonna get crazy physical, and that environment is gonna humble women, man, because it's gonna be brutal. It's not a time to play. You can play games in, right? The physical nature of what's to come is gonna humble women, right? It's gonna humble everyone, but it's gonna humble women, man. Shalom to the elect.